Some things in life just aren't meant for us. No matter how hard we try, how much effort we put into something, we might not always get the result that we expect. There's a spectrum of how you can react to situations like these. There's one side where you can let it really upset you and ruin your days. And then there's also another side where you don't care completely. And I don't think being on the extreme of one of these sides is necessarily a good thing. It's good to be in the middle, where you let it upset you enough to the point where you want to make a change, but you also don't care enough to let it ruin your life. It's necessary that things like these upset you because it means that you care and you want to improve. But when you get too upset, you're gonna start thinking about it all day. It's gonna get in the way of your daily life, and you're ultimately going to move backwards rather than improving. And if you're on the other side of the spectrum where you don't care at all, I question whether you really gave everything that you had, whether you really gave that situation your all. And when you don't care at all, you're not going to improve. So it's ideal that you're somewhere in between the spectrum, where you let it upset you enough to the point where you want to change, but you're not too careless to the point where you do nothing about it. And so when things happen that we don't expect, it's good to take a step back and look at it from an outside point of view. What went wrong? Why didn't I achieve the outcome I wanted? Maybe you did give it your all. Maybe there was nothing more that you could have done, but you still didn't end up getting what you wanted. For example, maybe you prepared so hard for a job interview. You did research on the company. You made an effort to connect with the person that was going to interview you. You had the best interview of your entire life, and they still sent you a rejection letter. In that situation, you gave it your all, but maybe they picked someone else because they fit their needs better, or maybe someone else was more qualified than you. In that situation, there's nothing really that you could have done. And just because things could have been different doesn't necessarily mean they could have been better. Because let's say you did get that job, and then all of a sudden there's bad things that keep popping up in that job that you weren't expecting. Would you still have wished that you gotten that job? Probably not, right? And so when things happen that we don't necessarily want, maybe it's for the better. Maybe it's a harm that was taken away from us. Maybe there's a better opportunity that's going to later come across our lives, and we would be happy and thankful that we didn't take this first opportunity. That way we can pursue the other one. I remember a few months ago, I tried really hard to get on a university club. I put in so much effort. This is maybe the most effort I put into anything ever before. I put in effort to get to know the people on the club. I put in effort into my application. I prepped for the interview, and I thought that I had a really good chance. But then the interview day came, and I absolutely fumbled the interview. I'm not sure what happened, but I didn't end up getting the offer. And I was really upset because I thought I had a really good chance. I was thinking, well, what else could I have done? And I let that upset me for a day. I wasn't able to get any of my work done. After I stopped being upset, I realized that there was nothing I could do. And so the next best action that I could have done in that situation was to ask for feedback. So I did. Luckily, the people there gave me really good feedback on my application and my interview. And I was then later able to use that feedback for my next interviews where I performed much better. But back to my point of just because things could have been different doesn't mean they could have been better. Let's say I did get this club position. Well, I don't know what could have arisen from that position. Maybe it takes up time from me, from my academics, from my other commitments. I am not able to see into the future to be so disappointed that I didn't get something that I wanted. And you might be watching this video because maybe you had a situation occur to you that you didn't really like. Maybe you tried so hard for a job offer. Maybe you really wanted a relationship or a friendship to work with someone. You tried your best and it just didn't end up happening. And so to that I say, it gets better. Think of previous situations that you were in. Think of how you felt in the moment, how upset you were. But then a couple days later, everything got better. You forgot about what happened, you moved on with your life, and you ended up being better. And so not all things that don't go your way mean that it's the end of the world. There's always an opportunity to learn and change for the better. So next time that you find yourself in an undesirable situation, maybe things didn't go how you wanted them to go, let it upset you for a little bit, and then really sit down and think to yourself, did I give in all my effort? And if I did, what can I learn from the situation? Rather than not caring entirely about a situation or letting it upset you that it ruins your day, take everything as a learning experience. Because you can't succeed without failure. If you get everything right first try, how are you going to grow? How are you going to learn from mistakes? The only way that anybody got better at doing something is by learning that what they were doing previously was wrong and that there was a better way to do it. And realize at the end of the day that not everything is in your control. And so it's not worth putting your effort, your energy into things that were in the past and that you had nothing to do with after you had given it your all.